Hey all. So, the Foldsmobile actually went away a couple weeks ago. And so, now that it's gone, let's kind of do a summary of what I got from it, what it cost me, whatnot, and we can just go see where I ended up. I paid $600 for the car. I spent another almost $200 getting it back. Like $60 for the trailer rental. I put $95 worth of gasoline into my cousin's truck because I did it when gas was at its most insane. And then lunches for me and my friends and stuff basically rounds the rest of that out. So I then sold off the front fenders, the front headlight rings, which I vaguely regret selling, and some odds and ends parts that came with it that were actually for another car, to one person for $220. I sold a bunch of little hardware for it, door latches, window bits, things like that, to a gentleman in another country who needed them for his 56 Oldsmobile. He paid me $200 for them, but I offered as part of that price to get new keys made for the locks that I sold him. That ended up costing me $40, which I was not expecting. So actually I cleared $160 on that rather than $200. And then we're going to go now through what I ended up keeping off of the car. So the big thing I bought the car for was the front bumper, which turned out to be more rotted than I thought. It's straighter than mine, but it's more rotted than I thought. I kept it anyway because the top piece is at least straight and seems less rusty than the bottom. The bottom piece is straight but rusty. Maybe I can combine it with mine. I don't know, even if I just use it as a template so I know that I've straightened mine out properly. It's got some value. A lot less value than I was hoping for there, but it's something. And then I basically stripped the car of anything I could think of that I thought might be possibly useful to me. So we're going to go through those right now. So here's my bin of Foldsmobile bits. Yeah. So this and these two smaller grills are the front grills off the cowl. Actually, don't strictly speaking need these. I needed one because I damaged it taking off my car. I bought some off of eBay. I think I just bought the two outer ones. But then I damaged the center section, so I'm not 100% sure, so I kept these in case I needed them. Between them, I now know I have a full set between what I had on my car, what I bought off eBay, and these. So that's a good thing, but not amazing in terms of value. I got the... Yes, we're doing this sort of half-assed. I got the courtesy lights, and I had the switch for them, but I'm not sure where it is now. Anyway, we'll just assume I have the switch and I'll find it somewhere later, hopefully. But I got the courtesy lights for the dashboard. Those are cool. My car doesn't have those, so that's a nice addition. Even if I don't have the... Turns out I don't have the switch, which I hope I do. These will at least be useful. I can just tie them into the regular lights. So that's great. Oh, these are the windshield arm decorations. I kept those because you have to take them off to get those grills out. Ignition switch. Mine doesn't work. The start position that would cause the engine to crank doesn't do anything. I don't know the condition of this one, but hey, you know, that's got to be worth a little bit because it might work. If it doesn't work, I'm no worse off, but it might work, so I'm going to have to try that out. Same thing for the heater switch. My heater switch it just stays on. There's a little vent underneath the dashboard that when you open it for summertime use, it becomes a vent and it doesn't allow the fan to run. If I close that door, my fan turns on and runs at full tilt. So I have the switch out of that car and the resistor pack that is normally inside the heating duct. So between those, if one of them is bad, hopefully the one I'm getting is good. So that's actually good. That little switch was something I have saved on eBay that I was going to buy at some point when I was ready to deal with that project. These are the two ashtrays out of the dashboard. I don't need these as ashtrays, but the radio is in the center of the dash, and if you don't have a radio, it continues. These ashtrays sit on either side of the radio. If you don't have a radio, it just continues this pattern completely across. So basically, I grabbed these because what I want to try and do, I can't find a radio block-off plate for cars that don't have a radio. There's one on eBay, it's $750. So I don't know that these are wide enough, but if I want to try and modify these to, and I may need a third one, but I want to try and modify these into essentially a radio block-off plate. Just cover that space, get rid of these little tray things here, and mount them together and basically make myself a block-off plate. Because I figure at $750, I can put a lot of effort into it and mess up a lot on these, which are pretty common. A lot of people sell these because they're one of the parts that, you know, doesn't go bad, so everybody who's parting one out has one. I figure I can give that a shot. And then these are all the little clips that hold the windshield trim on the outside. None of mine so far that I've taken off are bad, but this is one of those things that people are always begging for, because they'll take the trim off and find out one of these are rusted or damaged or whatever. So having them if I need them, that's a really useful thing, because everybody's trying to find them, so trying to track one down for myself would be a hassle. And then if when I finish I don't need them, you know, somebody will pay me at least something for the set. So that's some of the little stuff. Let's see, what next? Front turn signals with their lenses. That's one lens. Oh, there's the courtesy switch, which doesn't seem to, like, there seems to be something wrong with it, but the housing is fine. I can put another switch in this, no problem. But that's the courtesy light housing, so that's good. There's the other one. And I know I have the other lens in here somewhere. It's just buried in the pile. This is good because one of mine is damaged. I don't know exactly what's damaged, but having a spare set means I'll be able to make a good set out of them. So that's great. Also, there is some junk in here that doesn't matter, like just the pieces that ended up in here. Let's see. Tail lights. These are all not great, but some of them might be better than what I have. I'm probably going to put new lenses on my car, but I'm not going to put new ones of these on, the chrome pieces. So if some of these polish up nicer than mine, good, but that's not a big deal part. These are the only pieces of chrome from that car that transfer over to a hardtop, the front fender trim. One of mine has a big ding in it, so just, yeah, this one alone, that's valuable to me because mine has a big dent in it, so I don't have to try and get that dent out. So that's nice. I think, yeah, that's it for the truly valuable stuff. These are the Fender Emblems, these big 88s. I'm almost certain I'm not putting... My car should have had these because it's a Super 88. They should have been down there, but because of the Bondo work, somebody removed them. I'm probably not going to put them on the car, so these aren't really that valuable to me, but it's nice to have a set in case I change my mind. Now, the other thing that's in here is pieces I cut off the car. Nobody makes proper patch panels for this car, so anything I can have and not have to fabricate from scratch is great. So this is the first piece. This is the left taillight mount section. I don't need this from a repair standpoint, but I want to build it so that on my car so that the taillight swings away and then the gas filler is hidden in there so I can get rid of the gas store. This, I can just weld up a quick little stand that holds it in place, and this will give me the ability to try and figure that out. Try and figure out how to design something for that without cutting my car up. And then once I've done that, I can either take what I've made and just make the minimum modifications to my car to make that fit, or I can take what I've learned from this and modify my car. Either way, it'll come out a lot nicer this way, because I won't be cutting up my car and then have to like reverse bad decisions on my car to then go the right way. I can make all the mistakes here and then transfer those mistakes over to my car much more efficiently. So that I was genuinely going to pay somebody who was parting a car out if somebody offered to just cut this section out and give it to me for this specific purpose. So That's awesome. This is the section of the passenger side. Let's lay this stuff out. This is the section of the passenger rear wheel well that's damaged on my car from a dent. I probably won't need this, but if mine's not repairable, that's nice. It's also going to make a good sort of template to know if it's been fixed correctly. I'm just going to lay this out. So that's nice, but not huge. And then this and this are the bottoms of the two rear doors. My driver's side door, which is this one, is not too bad. It has some rust in that front corner. It had some other rust that I think I've fixed already, but it's not in terribly bad shape. My passenger side rear door, which is that one, is in pretty rough shape. It's got a lot of, not major rot, but it's got some significant rust. This is way less rusty than it is. It's not perfect, but it's way less rusty. So between these, their first goal, like their first thing is when I'm fixing the rust on the doors, these will be invaluable for, oh, this section's rotted. Hey, it's not rotted on that. I can just cut it out. Like I think my door's rotted like here-ish on one of them. And so I can just cut that section out and move it over instead of having to fabricate it from scratch. The other place that these have value, if I don't end up needing them for patch panels, is this front corner here is rounded, but this rear corner is sharp. And on my front, like the front door has a matching curve here. So what I want to do is mirror that curve back here just to give it a smoother appearance. So what I'm hoping I can do, if I don't need it for rust repair, is basically take the front of the passenger door chunk and put it on the rear of my driver's door. Take the front chunk of the driver's door and put it on my passenger door, because then I'll have the curve already pre-made. It'll already have the edge bent over. So I just have to very carefully cut it and fit it on the other side at the exact right spot for the curve to flow. And even if I just transfer over the outside skin that way, it'll save me so much work and effort not having to form that all from scratch, because you don't just have to form a curved piece. You also have to form a curved piece with a flange. You have to hammer that flange over. It's not an easy piece of custom work, because you're trying to duplicate this kind of look on both sides in a place where when the door is open, it'll be visible. So that's that. And then I have this piece and this piece. These are the, so I'm going to show you. The 56 Olds is prone to rust right here, right alongside the seam, right alongside the door jamb, because there's a seam there that's not sealed properly. The wheel just flings crap up into it. So they're all rotted right here. This is actually the better side on my car, where it's only got some rot here and some rot up here. But those two pieces that I cut are from basically here on the donor car. And the idea is, if I can salvage this lip, just the 90, just the very edge, what I can do is cut out, a 1-inch strip behind it here, and then use a piece from that to fit it in, and it'll already have the right curve going up. I'll be able to match this curve pretty much perfectly because it's already there. And in the one that I cut from the other car, I cut it from about here. So I also have the upper material here, which, as you can see on this one, is rotted. This car also has rot up in here, which that piece was gone because the roof was cut off that car. But also it would have been in different shape anyway. But like just being able to fix this section will, again, put me ahead of the game. That's just a nice thing to not have to fabricate from scratch. So that's what I ended up with. None of it's home run parts, but it's a lot of little crap that I needed to varying degrees. Some of it was like, oh, I really want this part, or oh, I really need this part. Some of it's a, hey, that'll save me, I don't know, a day or two of fabrication work, or save me from having to buy, like these. I was half expecting I was going to get myself a wheel or borrow one to try and match that curve. But trying to match that curve was not going to be easy. I was going to have to teach myself that, which is not bad. Learning new stuff's good, but this will also just save me the effort. So all total, let's see, 6 plus 8 plus 2, $800 to get it. Direct money. Oh, I sold the scrap, the shell of the Foldsmobile for $100. So 220, 140 in reality for this thing. So 360 out of 800. So the car cost me $440. Do I feel like I came out ahead? I don't think so. I feel like it was kind of a bad choice. I mean, it was fun to go get it. That was an entertaining thing. But that's about it. Like, getting to go recover the car with my friends was fun and cool. I got some stuff that I needed, but if I had to do it again, knowing what I know now, I would have either offered the guy absurdly less, basically offered him scrap and said, like, look, realistically, this car's scrap. You know, I'll give you $200, $300 for it. At which point I would have come out feeling much better off. Like, I don't need to make money. I'm not in this for the profit, but I feel like what it cost me versus what I got isn't great. But if I got in the car for half as much, I would have been in a much better position right now. But yeah, that's kind of where I ended up with the Foldsmobile. I don't, strictly speaking, regret purchasing it for the sake of purchasing it. I do regret how much it ended up costing me versus what I ended up getting. I guess we'll see as the 56 Olds project goes on how valuable these parts end up being. If I end up in situations where it's like, oh, hey, that was great, that saved me so much effort, or hey, I put this used part in and it works perfect, you know, like the switches and stuff. Like, I put that in and now that just works. Then I feel like I will have gotten more value out of it at that point. So yeah, that's kind of it. Just kind of a talky video, but wanted to let you all know where we were on the Foldsmobile, since it did just kind of disappear and I stopped talking about it. I will eventually actually get to working on the Oldsmobile. The van project kind of took over my life because new and shiny project. I've also been waiting for the weather to get a little bit nicer. It's just finally getting there. So that should be getting dragged out pretty quickly. Definitely still working on stuff. Definitely going to get stuff done. Got a 2-part video coming next week on some stuff I've been doing with the wheels. So I will see you then. Talk to you all later. Bye.